The last family of fish we're going to speak about are called crustaceans. Crustaceans are sometimes commonly referred to as shellfish because they have an exoskeleton. Their bones are on the outside. We think of it as a shell or a peel. And they also have jointed legs. This allows them to walk, crawl, swim. In order to grow, because the exoskeleton is a set size, they have to molt. Check out the YouTube video of the molting in action, because what's going to happen is the animal shell will get too tight, it'll dump it, and it will grow a softer shell and then fill it back in. The basic groups we're going to talk about today are shrimp, crabs, lobsters, and crayfish. There's 4 main varieties of shrimp in the culinary world that we deal with in America. They're the white shrimp, the pink shrimp, brown shrimp, and tiger shrimp. There are many, many, many varieties around the world, but these are the 4 most common ones you'll see around on campus. On the bottom right, you can see a shrimp farm that's in Arizona. It's pretty special, Desert Sweet Shrimp Company. The white shrimp is an herbivore, which makes it a vegetarian. It has a very steady diet and a very consistent flavor. It's not technically white, but it does have a clear shell with no distinctive markings. It's caught along the Gulf Coast in shallow waters during the daytime, and it tends to be very mild flavor and has a sweet aftertaste. As far as food cost goes, it's traditionally about 15% higher than the others, so it's not found as commonly as pinks or browns or tigers because most people can't afford the excess food costs, but this is what we use on the Hyde Park campus. The pink shrimp is probably the most commonly consumed shrimp in America. It's an omnivore. It tends to be found in deeper waters and is caught during the daytime. It's not as firm as the white shrimp, but it does still have a sweet flavor. These are the ones, if you go to the grocery store and you see the frozen cocktail shrimp, or you go to a buffet, chances are those are these. You may also see them marketed as Key West pinks, since the largest concentration of pink shrimp in America domestically is off of Key West. Brown shrimp, another omnivore, has an inconsistent flavor because of its diet. If I was ever to open a restaurant, I would make sure that the most important thing is consistency. You want your guests to always be able to eat a dish and have it taste the same way. They're used heavily where they're harvested, but if we look at this map, look at Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, think about their flavor profiles down there. Lots of Cajun, Creole, blackening, spice, vinegars. So you're going to have something that can stand up to the iodine flavor that these may have. When they're good, they're outstanding. When they're not so good, well, they're terrible. Be careful. Tiger shrimp are some of the most commonly used shrimp in the restaurant industry. They're also some of the most commonly misnamed. There are quite a few producers who call them black tiger prawns, but they're technically a shrimp, and I will get to how to tell the difference shortly. There were farmed and wild ones available, but more often than not, they're farmed. There are some sustainability issues with these, as they usually chop down mangrove swamps to make the pits to grow them in. They may taste like mud, and they may also be filled with sodium tripolyphosphate, which will, like we talked about with scallops, add water weight and a kind of a soapy, chemically taste. The freshwater prawn is a beautiful looking animal. It's got a large head, and as opposed to the shrimp, a very small tapered tail and claws. They tend to be soft compared to a shrimp, but often they're stuffed and they make a beautiful functional garnish. When we buy shrimp, there are a few different market forms that you should learn about. One is called green. That has nothing to do with the color of the shrimp. It's just a raw, dead shrimp that has the head on or the head off, but the shell will be on. Peeled and undeveins are usually done chemically or with water pressure jets, so they may taste waterlogged or a little diluted in the flavor. They're traditionally smaller, and you may have seen these in ramen packs or maybe inexpensive seafood salad with the artificial crab meat. Peeled and deveined is something more that you would find in retail, and then you can buy these tray pack or individually quick frozen. When they devein them, they take out the sand track in the back. Now, you may have heard many colorful names for this, but really what it is, it's sand and ground up food, whether they're anchor worms or algae, depending on whatever the animal eats, that's back there. If you were to buy them from a shrimp farm, they can purge shrimp because the shrimp's digestive process takes about 20 minutes from one end to the other. So if they turn off the feed and flush the water out, you can have shrimp that are perfectly edible with the sand track inside. Here we have a diagram showing the difference between shrimp and prawns. As I mentioned earlier, you could see the prawn on the right has the larger head, the smaller tail, and the claws. If you look closer, the traditional shrimp has overlapping segments on its shell that are all shingled successively. One goes over 2, 2 over 3, 3 over 4, 4 over 5, and into the tail. The prawn, on the other hand, has segment number 2 overlaps 1 and 3, 3 overlaps 4, 4 overlaps 5, and then it goes into the tail. So if you're buying them head on, look for the claws. But if you're buying them head off, to make sure that you truly are getting prawn tails, look at that second segment.